This is how Donald Trump recently compared the coronavirus and the flu.
You know, you do certain things that you do when you have the flu. I mean, view this the same as the flu. When somebody sneezes, I mean, I try and bail out as much as possible with this.
Now, I can't tell you how many idiots online are still sharing the same opinions as Trump, in that the coronavirus is no worse than the flu. So in today's video, I will show you how misinformed you are if you still believe that COVID-19 is just another seasonal flu. Roll the titles.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Now, in terms of all viruses known to man, measles is one of the most infectious diseases around, and one person with the measles will likely infect anywhere between 12 and 18 people. And the number that a virus is likely to infect from a single person is known as the basic reproduction number, or the R0 number. So the Spanish flu epidemic in 1918 had an estimated R0 value of 1.4 to 2.8, the recent swine flu 1.4 to 1.6, the Zika virus, which is very contagious, 3 to 6.6, and the seasonal flu has an R0 value of 1.3. In comparison, the current coronavirus has an R0 value of 2 to 2.5. Now, you may think that 2 to 2.5 doesn't sound a great leap from seasonal flu of 1.3, especially when comparing them to viruses like Zika or measles, but you would be wrong. Now, on paper, the coronavirus and seasonal flu do share some common symptoms such as persistent cough, body-wide aches, fatigue, and both can also transition into pneumonia. But just because the two share commonalities, don't be fooled into thinking that corona is just another seasonal flu. Now, it doesn't help when you have people like Donald Trump, social media influencers, and news outlets consistently putting them in the same category. But let me explain to you the big differences. So if you were to get seasonal flu with an R0 value of 1.3, that means that you would transfer the virus to either one or two other people. And if you extrapolate each one of those infecting one or two other people, then 10 rounds later, approximately 56 people would have contracted seasonal flu from that initial first person. Now, if you compare this with the coronavirus with an R0 value of 2 to 2.5, 10 rounds later, the virus would have been spread to over 2,000 people. Now, comparing 56 for seasonal flu and over 2,000 for the coronavirus obviously gives us an idea of how quickly the virus spreads, but it doesn't tell us anything about the seriousness of the virus. Now, many people like the comparison with seasonal flu because it helps bring down those anxiety levels. And after all, for all of the millions in America, for example, we know that seasonal flu will kill between 20 and 60,000 Americans per year. Now, as of the end of March, the death toll in the US was already 34,000 in just a few weeks, and globally we are already pushing 55,000. So you can see in a relatively short space of time, with 34,000 deaths and an R0 value of 2 to 2.5, every 10 rounds of the disease will see 2,000 more people contracting the disease, with a death rate of 1 to 3%. And when you extrapolate those numbers, flu and the coronavirus are not even in the same ballpark. And if you think they are, then you're an idiot and you need to lay off the weed and also those conspiracy theories. Now, the other aspect of this is the concept of herd immunity. So with the seasonal flu, most of us have experienced this and then built up an immunity to it. So a person with seasonal flu can only transmit the virus to a relatively small proportion of people because many people around the person with the flu have already developed immunity. Coronavirus, on the other hand, is obviously a new virus. So individually we have no protection, and also in terms of herd immunity, we have none. Therefore, literally everyone on the planet is susceptible, and therefore it will spread like wildfire. And then we get to the reality of the virus and what we are concerned with, and that is the death rate of the disease. So only approximately 2% of those with seasonal flu need to be hospitalized. But with coronavirus, we are currently seeing hospitalization rates of 20 to 30% for those who have contracted the virus. Europe currently has a 30% hospitalization rate. Now, beyond this, approximately 4% develop severe complications, and based on the current figures, fatality rates between countries is between 1 and 3%. Now, seasonal flu, on the other hand, has a fatality rate of around 0.1%. Now, again, comparing 0.1% to 1 to 3% fatality rates doesn't sound a lot when written on a piece of paper. But when you extrapolate those numbers out to populations around the world, you get some rather unsettling numbers. Now, seasonal flu with its 0.1% fatality rate kills approximately 60,000 Americans per year. Coronavirus has a fatality rate of at least 10 times this number. So if you believe that coronavirus is just another seasonal flu equivalent, then as I said earlier, you are an idiot. And this is the realization that Donald Trump is now coming to. As he recently said, if America did everything perfectly over the next few weeks, then 200,000 people will still lose their lives. Now, this number could be upwards of 400,000 to 600,000. We simply don't know. It's an unknown virus. And the biggest fear that we should all have is the vulnerable and elderly in our communities. So coronavirus has an average fatality rate of 1 to 3% across all age ranges. But for 70 to 90-year-olds, they have a fatality rate of 10 to 17% when contracting the coronavirus. So again, please don't compare corona with the flu. When you take into account transmission rates, no immunity as it's a new virus, and the fact that most of us don't even know that we are carriers of the virus, it's a sobering thought. Now, even with the widespread isolation seen throughout the world, it is still estimated that 20 to 60% of the world's population is likely to become infected. So the global population is approximately 7.8 billion. So if 20% of these become infected and the average fatality rate is 1 to 3%, that is a staggering number. Now, the issue as it stands is that there are so many unknowns. The fatality rate could be worse than some are predicting, or it could be better than some are predicting. We simply don't know. What we do know though is that if the death rates continue around the world at an increasing rate, then what we are witnessing will dwarf any flu fatality rates that we have ever seen in our lifetime. This isn't some hoax or conspiracy theory, this virus is real. Listen to the advice given to you, look out for the vulnerable and elderly in your community, and make sure that you sleep well, exercise and eat right, so if you do come into contact with the virus, your body is better equipped. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.